hello over here. I'm talking into the stream. Okay, I have to make that a little more. Or not, whatever. Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick reflection on the first stream that I had. And think about what I did and what I want to do for next time. I think like actively sort of listing these things can help me when I am not on my like full dose of medication. It can help me sort of stay focused on trying to, I think, make a better experience for both people that are watching and for myself. Yeah, so to start, I've really loved all of like sort of the chat messages that I got. They made me feel really welcome and excited. It was so cool to get rated. But a big issue that I had is because of my ADHD, I would be talking about something. Like I was trying for a long time to sort of talk about how sliders work, and like I wanted to go sort of deeper into it. I didn't really get a chance to. And this was because whenever I would start talking about it, someone I think would say something in the chat, or I would like be looking at Barbie's like reference. God, I can't believe I'm doing this series. Like image, and then I would see the chat like on my other monitor, and I would just get so distracted, and I would completely lose my train of thought, and I would completely forget to go back to what I was talking about. And I think that might have been sort of disorienting for viewers. I didn't really want that to be the experience. I wanted to sort of analyze it a bit more, but I was sort of sad that I didn't have a chance to. So I've been thinking about sort of ways to counteract that. Maybe instead of like just constantly having the chat open on my OBS thing, I could like, I don't know, check the chat once every 5 minutes, or I could have it like on the actual game screen. It's very hard to like the thing is like when I am doing it, I definitely am thinking about all of the things at once, and I'm like I continue the thought that I was having in my mind, and then I look at the chat, and instead of saying the continuation of the thought, the chat is like there, and I'm like, okay, and then I just stop talking, and I'm like, oh, I finished that thought, and then I go back and I look at it, and I'm like, wait, I didn't actually finish that thought. I finished it in my head, and no one heard what I was going to say about it. Yeah. Another thing, I think I've noticed this like while taking this class a bit, is that Joshua, I think does this. I think during the discourse, Frank and Naomi do this. I think they say the chat comment. So it's like if my friend Esther, who's like umbrella covers, like said, what did she say? She was like Mamma Mia. I think the way that Joshua or Frank and Naomi would say that would sort of like respond to her comment would be like, umbrella cover says Mamma Mia, like while looking at this. And I don't know if I feel like that might make viewers think that I'm sort of like paying attention and caring more sort of about like them being there than just reading it in my head and responding passively out loud, so that they can see it. So that like if they don't realize that I am responding to them, they might think I'm responding to what someone else said. But I think that might be helpful. I feel like that also could add like a layer of separation from me and the audience, though, which I don't know. I want to sort of like talk to the audience like they're people that are watching and taking time for this, and it's really sweet. So I don't want to alienate them, and I think that could do that, and it makes sense that people with bigger platforms do that. But I don't know. Yeah. And then also I think one person was like talking like a lot, like trying to sort of like explain some of the Crusader King stuff to me, and I don't know what it would be like to sort of like say every comment that they say out loud, like while also saying their name, because I don't want to make the video about what this person's saying. You know, not that streaming isn't about that, but like if someone's talking a lot, it's more like we're having a conversation, and it's like I don't have a conversation with my friends. Like Finn says, hey, did you get any olive oil at the supermarket, after Finn in real life asks me, like it's I don't know. So that's like I think a fine line to walk, but I'm going to try and sort of do that a bit more so people don't think I'm just zoning out. Yeah, another thing I thought about was I was talking to my roommate after this, and he was like, yeah, it's or after actually I talking to my roommate after I rewatched the stream, and he was like, yeah, it's really hard to game and say things at the same time. And I didn't know that until I did this. I didn't know it was hard to sort of like mess with the sliders and pay attention until I did this. I think with Crusader Kings 3, I've gotten to a point in English at least where I can definitely probably do that like at the same time. I can do that with like The Sims. I can do that with Wizard 101. I can do that with games that I know like the back of my hand. But I think having Crusader Kings in French makes it so that might not be as easy. And I don't want it to be easy. I want to sort of like explore the process of trying to explain this to people. I don't know. Maybe it's a little weird to make a series about explaining something to people, but I think it's cool. It's like there's that card game like Mao, where it's like the entire game is figuring out what the rules are, and I sort of want to think about that with this. Yeah, and I don't know what entertaining looks like. I think for me, entertaining looks like talking about my thoughts on what's going on and like sort of the thoughts that I described at the beginning of the episode. So like last week I wanted to talk about character creation and sliders and like what it means to have like abstract traits describe a person in their entirety. Like that's just so much to say. I think I talked a bit about like religion and like how Crusader Kings 3 sort of handles like what they think about with like religion, but I didn't get a chance to talk about them for a long time just because my mind kept on like flitting back and forth. So I don't know if that was entertaining. I think entertaining for me is not going to be like I dance on camera in a bunny suit. I don't know. That's not that that's bad. Like other people do that and it's great when they do it, but that's not my personality type. Like I very much, what I consider entertaining and what I hope my friends and people that are watching this consider entertaining is sort of my analysis of what's going on in the moment in an incredibly deep way. I don't think I necessarily got a chance to achieve that because of how difficult it was to focus. Yeah, another thing, I got, what was it called? Raided by another Crusader Kings player's fan base, and that was like really interesting. I don't really interact with Twitch a lot, so I didn't know what that was or like what to expect. I mean, raiding sounds awful. It sounds like someone's gonna come like DDoS you. Thank God that's not what it is. It's actually friendly. Maybe I've been playing too much Crusader Kings, and I'm like, the Vikings are coming to come mess up my Irish monasteries. They're coming to raid it, but no, they were coming to watch me do whatever I was doing, and that was really cool. I got like a lot more viewers because of it than I did. But there was actually one person who was talking in the chat who I don't think he was, or I assume he. That's not fair. They were trying to, I think, explain a lot of the game to me, like a lot of the sliders, and because of that, I sort of felt overwhelmed by that. And my friend who has been helping me like learn French, she also came and like watched for a bit. She started sort of trying to do the same thing, and I didn't know how to signify that. Like I really didn't want to be told what they were. Like in the moment, I didn't want to be told what the sliders were. I wanted to go through the process of having to like look stuff up. Like this is a very slow gameplay experience. And I think at a point I did sort of panic, and I was really happy that my friend came and she like was able to sort of like tell me what the French word for draw was. But like, I don't know, I've played so much of this game, like I know it very well at this point. I don't know all of it because it's a gigantic game. There's so much. There's also DLC coming out. I'm not gonna update the DLC to the DLC for this because I don't think if there's like new events, maybe, I don't know, maybe adding new events for me that I don't know would be really cool, sort of to see if I can actually figure out what's going on. But I don't know, maybe I'm using my knowledge of the game as a crutch, I think is like what I'm realizing. Because like, I don't know, one of the people like in the chat, like the person that was talking a lot was trying to tell me like what all the sliders were, and I was like, I don't know, it made me think a lot about like how I process information in user interface, which is like what I wanted to talk about a lot, like not just in the actual gameplay Crusader Kings 3, which I hope I have the attention span to talk about that more, but like also in the character creation segment of the game. I actually think I realized a lot about sort of like the way that I personally process information with like sliders and character creation. I think even like I don't look at the labels at all. I just like go back and forth and like I look at the character to see if they look the way that I want. because the labels are so arbitrary and like useless most of the time, even like when they're in English, like jaw length, I don't know, like that's helpful, but like what is this fucking part called, like this intensity, like what is intensity, right? Like they're all a bunch of like arbitrary words that like try to help the player understand what's going on, but the way that you can really understand what's going on is if you're looking at like the changes that are happening on the character that you're making. So I think I've sort of fallen out of practice of like actually reading what they were, and when I couldn't tell what they were doing and I did need to look at it, or I needed to find like a specific one, instead of like going and like trying to read the labels in French, I just like completely didn't even like look at the French words and like use this skill that I do have. Like I sort of just blocked it out of my brain, and like I just went through the sliders again, and it like wasted time instead of like I could have just read it. And it was really interesting to like see the difference, because like I think because English is my first language, I can very easily like passively absorb the information to the left of the slider, which is the label, like passively through English, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is this. Like I can like look at them as like a list of things, whereas like with French I have to like actively translate it, and I can't do it as quickly or as efficiently. So that was like really interesting to see. Yeah, and I don't know, I think because I was a little nervous, it was my first stream, I wasn't off my meds, I was on 10 milligrams. Maybe I won't drink coffee next time. I don't know, maybe I should do it during the week when I am on my meds. I don't know, I'll have to talk with Joshua about that, because I already sort of like have it set in stone, and I don't have like a ton of time during the week also. I'm doing this like 2 minutes before my other class. Yeah, so that was interesting. I don't know, yeah, it didn't feel great to have stuff explained to me. I think I sort of expected that going in, just because I am a woman, and like people tend to assume that like women players don't know what they're doing with games, which is like a generalization, but it is a real experience that I've had. People always just like assume that I'm worse at a game than I am, when sometimes I'm like the best player in the room. And I really like Crusader Kings, because I don't think there's necessarily a way to be good at the game or not. I think people can say that, they can say, oh, how big's your empire, but like the game is so obviously not based around that. Like it's not Civ, it's like a simulation game that has no end goal. It just has like things that you can do. Yeah, it was cool to be rated. It made me happy. I learned that most of the people that rated me were like part of actually like the queer Crusader Kings community, which was exciting. I don't think I'd want to be rated by never mind, I'm not going to finish that thought. But it was cool to be sort of like rated by other queer people, like maybe they could pick up on what I was doing. And I did get like some followers from that, which made me really happy. I didn't expect that at all. And it makes me happy that there's even one or two other people in the world that are interested in this analysis, you know, that aren't like my friends that I've forced to like join because I've like put everyone I know like on a silly fake mailing list of texts, you know. Yeah, it felt, I don't know, I always like send out like a bunch of stuff to like my friends, like whenever I make a game, I like send them stuff over text. I was joking with my roommate that I should like make a bot that can sort of like make a mailing like a cross-platform mailing list that can like send my shit to everyone whenever I do something, and honestly I could really use that. But like there's so many people that I want to see what I'm doing. Like I didn't even get to email my dad or like some of the other like game devs that I interacted with through email, because like I forgot about email and I had like 30 minutes before the stream like was starting, and I was like felt weird to wear makeup. Obviously I'm not wearing makeup now. I don't know, I think I'm pretty either way, but I feel like there's like at least I assume from the outside there's a culture in Twitch that like people get more views if they like wear makeup and like look pretty, but I don't know. I was talking to my roommate about that, and it's like, is this the audience that I want, like an audience that hates me if I'm not wearing makeup? So that's something I have to think about. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's it. I have to go to class. Goodbye.